Gloucestershire batting dominance halted by the rain. Gloucestershire's trip to Grace Road last week was a real run-fest of a contest against Leicestershire. Over 1,200 runs scored in 3 innings before both captains shook hands on a draw, a frustrating result after the side had piled on 571. Glamorgan, meanwhile, probably had the weather to thank for their draw last time out, with Middlesex well placed. They took the option to bowl first, putting Gloucestershire into bat. But the Welsh side would suffer a punishing first session. Chances were few and far between as openers Hammond and Dent made a good start to their innings. Glamorgan chopped and changed bowlers but could find no way to slow down the pair, let alone find a wicket. And before long, Dent had his 50, pulling well off Dewthwaite for his 8th 4 of the innings. Hammond would be next, a more circumspect innings from the skipper, but his half-century was reached with a 2. And by the time the pair reached lunch, they put on 127 runs and barely given the Glamorgan bowlers a sniff. The breakthrough would finally come just after the restart. Hammond, caught by Labuschagne off the bowling of Lloyd, to depart for 61. But new man Bracey showed no sign of waiting to play himself in, as he dispatched his second ball for 4. Both batsmen scored boundaries in the coming overs, as Gloucestershire's momentum was kept in full swing. Then rain started to fall in Bristol, and with the score 168 for 1, the players had to head off the field of play. No further play was possible before tea, so the interval was taken, with Dent unbeaten on 82, Bracey on 21. And the weather refused to relent. Stumps called with no further action, but Gloucestershire in complete control. They'll look to build on their solid start in the morning session on day 2, whilst Glamorgan will hope they can pick up some quick wickets. Glamorgan have the best of day 2 as match hangs in the balance at Bristol. A dominant display with the bat from the home side in Bristol had been curtailed by rain, so when play resumed on day 2, it was with Dent and Bracey at the crease, the former unbeaten on 82, the score 168 for 1. Gloucestershire had high hopes of claiming maximum batting points. Glamorgan were just trying to get some wickets to get back into the contest. The Glamorgan attack had been successful at restricting elements of the home team's attacking play in the afternoon session of the first day, and they tied things down again, resulting in the wicket of Bracey as he was caught by Lloyd off Hogan for 28. Dent continued to plough forwards unfazed, and he moved into the 90s with a boundary off De Lange. In the South Africans' next over, Dent struck a further 2 boundaries, the second of which took him to his 2nd century in as many innings. It also took Gloucestershire past the 200 mark. Dewthwaite was brought into the attack, and Dent struck him for 4 in his opening over. But in his next, Glamorgan made the breakthrough, Dent nicking off, Cullen with the catch as the Gloucestershire skipper departed for 105. In the very next over, the hosts were 4 down. Howell caught behind off Wag for 2. Taylor started in positive fashion with a couple of 4s off Wag, but the bowler was to grab his revenge before the interval as Taylor fell caught by Selman for 13. Higgins joined Roderick, and they saw play through to lunch. The score 266 for 5, a couple of batting points in the bag for Gloucestershire, but Glamorgan fighting back with 4 wickets. Hogan bowled the first over after the interval, and it was a peach. First, Roderick was bowled for 22, and then 2 balls later, Higgins was on his way, caught behind for 25. 267 for 7 became 280 for 8. Payne bowled by De Lange for 9. Van Buren and Shaw joined forces to take the score past 300. But the innings was brought to a swift conclusion shortly afterwards, as Van Buren was caught by Cullen off Wag for 17, and Dewthwaite removed Taylor for 1, the keeper Cullen again with the catch. 176 for the loss of just the 1 wicket, the remainder going down for 137, a disappointing total in the end for Gloucestershire as they were all out for 313. Hogan and Wag the pick of the bowlers with 3 wickets apiece, And then Selman and Hemphrey came in with 14 overs to survive until the tea break. They managed this without any real trouble. The score at the interval, 35 without loss. There was no sign of any change after the interval as the pair cruised to their 50 partnership. However, 2 overs after taking the team to their half-century, Hemphrey was out, nicking off to shore, Roderick with the catch as the opener headed back to the pavilion for 28. Labuschagne joined Selman and they continued to press on after taking a couple of overs to calm things down. Labuschagne struck Taylor for a pair of boundaries in the 25th over, and when Payne came into the attack, he deposited him over the rope for the innings' first maximum. Selman now had a clear picture of Labuschagne in his rear-view mirror when it came to run accumulation, but the opener accelerated to bring up his 50. The pair then brought up a 50 partnership and pressed towards 3 figures, only to fall just short. Selman, the man to go, caught Howell offshore for 73, bringing the partnership to an end 5 runs shy of 100. And as is so often the case, 1 wicket brought 2. Lloyd was out the very next over, caught behind off Higgins for 1. Billy Root came to the crease and hit a boundary in 3 consecutive overs. But there was to be a final twist as Root fell on the last ball of the final over of the day, bowled Taylor for 21, making the score 187 for 4 at the close and leaving the match finely balanced heading into the 3rd day. Gloucestershire's lead 126 runs, with Glamorgan still protecting 6 first innings wickets. Gloucestershire edge into lead after another rain-delayed day. It's been an even contest so far in Bristol, with both sides batting carefully, and the hosts Gloucestershire took a 126-run lead into the 3rd day of action, with the game finally in the balance and both sides hoping to get on the front foot in the morning session. That morning session would never come, however, rain delaying play once again. The skies cleared, though, to get play underway at the later time of 2 p.m. Glamorgan couldn't get the start they wanted when play did resume. Labuschagne had just brought the score past 200 when he nicked behind from Payne, out for 65. 3 balls later, Morgan followed him, Payne again the man, and Glamorgan down to 204 for 6. They were seeking a period of consolidation with Cullen and Doothwaite, but Cullen fell, Shaw the man getting him out for just 7. Doothwaite and Wagg were patient, finding boundaries few and far between. They made it through to tea unscathed and seeked to continue batting carefully in the evening session. That careful batting didn't pay dividends for Glamorgan. Doothwaite, Higgins' 2nd wicket of the day, as the Glamorgan man was out for 23. De Lange gave the Glamorgan fans something to smile about with a maximum, but an over later he was sent walking for 8. And 1 ball later, Glamorgan's innings was over. Wagg the man out for a useful 33. Glamorgan with a first innings deficit of 26, and they'd be hoping to topple as much of the hosts' top order as possible before the close of play. Gloucestershire faced a tricky mini-session in the evening. It started disastrously for them. First innings hero Dent gone for just 2. Hammond, however, settled immediately, accumulating swift runs off several boundaries. He just got motoring when Doothwaite cut his fun, bowling the opener for 21. Bad light had been threatening play all evening, but Bracey managed 1 more boundary before the umpires halted play for the day. Gloucestershire 41 for 2, leading by 67 runs. The match seemingly destined for a draw, but both sides will attack on the final morning, aiming to make a vital breakthrough. Hogan's wickets and Labuschagne's runs guide Glamorgan to victory. Day 4 in Bristol would begin as Day 3 had ended. Gloucestershire in the driving seat, Roderick and Bracey at the crease, and the match heading towards a draw. Any positive result for either side would be dependent on the home side's ability to bat quickly in the first session. They'd resume on 41 for 2 with a lead of 67, and Roderick immediately put his foot on the accelerator, finding the boundary 3 times in the first 6 overs as the home side breezed past 50. That flurry of boundaries would be the extent of his contribution, dismissed by Hogan for 20, caught by Selman at second slip. Bracey would take up the baton of his departed partner, his own score growing with each 4 scored. It would be his undoing. Looking to turn Doothwaite round the corner for another boundary, he was trapped LBW, innings over for 33. With Howell and Taylor fresh to the crease, Glamorgan had an opportunity and would look to take quick wickets in the hope of forcing a result. The Gloucestershire pair though would stay together to take the side's total past 100, Taylor accelerating. He'd go the same way as Bracey though, playing across the line to Lloyd, out LBW for 16. Howell and Higgins though would guide the side through to lunch at 131 for 5, the lead 157. Higgins' stay at the crease would turn out to be brief. He was well caught at first slip for 6 for Hogan's third of the innings. He wouldn't have to wait long for a fourth. Howell, his next victim, clean bowled for 33. Payne would only add 1 run to the score before he too would fall, caught behind off the bowling of Wag. The innings was over within 17 balls. Shaw slashed Wag straight to Labuschagne at point to leave Gloucestershire 9 down before De Lange had Van Buren caught behind, gone for 9. 161 all out, the target 188. A gettable total for Glamorgan, but a draw still the more likely option with 1.5 sessions left in the match. But Selman and Hemphrey would get off to a slow start, just 6 runs scored off the first 4 overs. Selman was then out, caught at point by Taylor for 6 off the bowling of Payne. Labuschagne would announce himself with a boundary to take Glamorgan into double figures, and he'd take the Gloucestershire bowlers to task, hitting 4 more boundaries as the side raced from 10 for 1 to 56 for 1 in the remaining 8 overs before tea. With Glamorgan starting to look like they were in control of the match, another wicket fell. Hemphrey caught by Dent off the bowling of Shaw, out for 15. Unmoved, Labuschagne would pick up his half-century, taking just 61 balls to get there. He was beginning to look like the key man in the chase. With the target about to tick down into double figures, he'd lose another partner though, Lloyd dragging a Taylor delivery onto his off stump, out for 8. Root would stay with Labuschagne, and the required total ticked down further. Gloucestershire though would break the partnership when captain Dent held on to a catch to see Root go for 31. The home side's confidence grew, and in the next over the linchpin Labuschagne was gone, edging Payne behind for 82. It was still Glamorgan's to lose though, and Dewthwaite would settle nerves with 2 quick boundaries off Shaw and then Payne. The target dropped into single figures, but Gloucestershire would pick up another wicket, albeit a little too late. Dewthwaite out for 14, caught by Van Buren off the bowling of Shaw. Morgan cleared the boundary with his first ball faced to leave just 1 run required for Glamorgan. Wag sealing the victory with a single 2 balls later, winning the match by 4 wickets. It was quite an achievement, with a draw looking the most likely result as Gloucestershire had resumed in the morning. A quite remarkable spell of bowling prevented the home side from putting on the kind of score they'd hoped for, and instead turned the tables, putting the pressure on the home team. Hogan's 4 for 22, the standout performance. In Labuschagne, Glamorgan had a player who rose to the challenge of the chase. His innings of 82 featured 10 fours and broke the back of that run chase. Gloucestershire will have no complaints. They'd let their foot off the accelerator on the final day, and on the balance of play, they deserved their first defeat of the season.